Welcome to SVG-TV News and Sports for Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Medical Cannabis Authority officially launched the island's inaugural Cannabis Festival last evening. Addressing the launching ceremony at Levue, Chief Executive Officer of the SVG Medical Cannabis Authority, Dr. Gerald Thompson, said the festival is a special event that will take place over 3 days from November 1st to the 3rd, 2024 at the Honoursville Sporting Complex. The event will feature conferences and expo at a concert.
We're talking about the field. We're talking about the infrastructure. You will see we'll be holding an expo under the double-decker. We'll be using the party stands and be using that area just outside of the playing field with that view of Beckway for the establishment and erection of a traditional, authentic cultivators village. And of course, we'll be using the facilities, the President's Suite, and some of the pavilions for lectures and talks and meetings that is going to help to educate and enlighten persons on this subject of marijuana or medicinal cannabis. Now, the event will bring together a series of objectives. Not only one of inclusion of persons in the Rastafari faith, but also an educational process that helps to reformat our thinking about medicinal cannabis. It's also going to have a little bit of fun to it, but it's a serious educational event. And by the end of this year, almost all the islands in the English-speaking Caribbean would have either decriminalized and legalized medicinal cannabis. And unfortunately, there are some challenges, real challenges.
Noting that too often when people mention cannabis, the focus is on its recreational use. Dr. Thompson, a medical doctor, highlighted the broad-based benefits of medical cannabis. He emphasized the need for greater public education on the subject, stating that Cannabis SVG 2024 will play a key role in this effort.
Post-traumatic stress disorder and the importance now of cannabis in it. And we are seeing that in many countries, we're now over, I would say, approaching 1/3 of the world that have legalized medicinal cannabis. We are seeing its use. But still, unfortunately, in medical schools, in pharmacy schools, in nursing schools, they don't teach this subject sufficiently. I was never taught that in medical school, and I had some backward ideas. I thought what I and others were saying was a joke until I learned that myself, dealing with my patients, my AIDS patients, the benefits that it could cause in terms of stimulating appetite. But in addition, the subject of wellness and so. Now, we are going to have a high level lecture series, bringing together some of the best experts internationally, regionally, and locally to talk on this subject and correct the misinformation that surrounds this subject. We'll be having persons who are bona fide specialists in the endocannabinoid system. We're having a Professor David Nutt, the foremost authority out of the UK, England. I just came back from England last night. And, you know, he's certainly prepared. He's the foremost authority from Imperial College, London.
Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Information Technology, Camilo Gonzalez, noted that the festival is a celebration and that SVG Cannabis Festival will be a celebration highlighting the value of cannabis in medicine, science, culture, religion, trade, commerce, and daily life.
That is a very important circle that we have completed, or that we will be completing with the Cannabis Festival. Marijuana has always been a multifaceted plant. It is a sacramental plant. It is a recreational plant. It is a medicinal plant. It is a political plant. It is a legal plant, whether illegal or legal. And it is a plant that has a profound impact on people. There are very few plants that you can talk about that will get the response from everybody, one way or the other, that marijuana will. If I come to you and say we're having a hibiscus festival, or I don't know, a sugar apple festival, you won't get the same response, because we're talking about a very particular, very special, very impactful organic compound in many ways, and the compounds that are contained in marijuana. And the multifaceted other scientific possibilities and medicinal possibilities of cannabis, now that the stigma attached to cannabis has been removed, people can appreciate it scientifically and medicinally. And that's a very important part of what we're going to be doing at this festival.
Minister of Agriculture Soboto Caesar stated that as SVG prepares to host its first ever cannabis festival, the progress made in the medical cannabis industry must be celebrated.
Anywhere, there are some who started the journey but did not live to see the position we are in today. And we stand today on the shoulders of giants. And I want tonight to recognize, as we prepare for cannabis in November, those soldiers who have gone on to the great beyond, but who fought a very good fight. I want to recognize the work of the traditional cultivators, not only as producers of cannabis in an industry, but also the role that they have played and continue to play in food security. I want for persons who are following to take note that the traditional cultivators of cannabis in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they contribute significantly to food and nutrition security. Let us recognize that.
Caesar told the gathering that SVG is on a mission to advance its medical cannabis industry to modern standards and stressed the importance of placing research and development at the heart of this quest. He encouraged those in the medical field engage in research to produce more indigenous studies from St. Vincent and the Grenadines to enhance the country's offerings in medical cannabis to the global market. Minister Caesar also announced that in the coming days there will be meetings with traditional cannabis cultivators. A special allocation of $250,000 will be distributed to these farmers and members of the Rastafarian community who are producers of medical cannabis as direct support for those impacted by Hurricane Beryl. Members of the SVG Medical Cannabis Authority will conduct assessments to determine the recipients of this assistance. In other local news now, we hear that unstable conditions will be across the island chain for the remainder of the week, and the SVG Med Services says this means that fair conditions could be interrupted by pockets of showers and thunderstorms activity into tonight. On Wednesday, it says there is a moderate chance of showers as moisture in the lower atmosphere decreases to some extent, with warm conditions likely into Thursday. There will be a gradual increase in cloud cover during Thursday as instability from a tropical wave approaches the islands. Shower activity is forecast to increase by evening or night. Seas are forecast to be smooth to moderate in open waters, with swells ranging between 0.5 meters to 1.0 meter on the western coast and 1.0 meter to 2.0 meters on the eastern coast. The 72 hours outlook says there will be no significant haze intrusion within the forecast period. The SVG Med Services is also monitoring monitoring 2 small systems in the area, while noting that there is a 60% chance that they could develop into a tropical cyclone. Forecaster Gregory Cato, an NBC Radio Face-to-Face program yesterday, said these systems poses little threat as they are north of the island chain. He said what persons should look out for, however, is warmer conditions.
Do expect, though, is for the warm conditions to continue based on what I mentioned before, because of the proximity they are well away from us, and because you have that Atlantic high, the supply of these winds would not say reach St. Vincent, so we can expect more of light wind speeds, and when you get light wind speeds, then it facilitates warming, daytime heating, so we can expect as we go forward to be in between some warm conditions interrupted at times by showers, possible thunderstorms, especially across the afternoon period. And at this point, if I may, we do have the ITCZ, or the Intertropical Convergence Zone, pushing a bit northward. So what we've been seeing this morning is a manifestation pretty much of that. So we've been getting some thunderstorms and some moderate rain showers and so forth. Light showers, sorry.
With the humid conditions expected to continue up to October, Cato provided some advice to farmers and others on how they can deal with the heat.
We would advise persons to ensure there is proper ventilation and some cooling mechanisms, because there are some, livestock, for example, poultry, there are certain, they would not lay if it's too hot, and people, I'm pretty sure that people would have encountered this before. In terms of fisheries, we're looking at near record water temperatures could potentially reduce the catching of reef fish, right? We're looking at coral bleaching as well. For persons who go to the beach on afternoons, you could tell the difference. I'm telling you, by 5, 6 o'clock, the water is already warm. And this is not something that you get regularly. You could actually feel the difference. Like you could be at the shoreline and by 5, 6 o'clock, you hit the water and it's warm, right? And that's an indication that, the sea surface temperatures are actually, warming up. In terms of forestry, exacerbation of any evolving drought conditions due to the fact that, we have these warmer heat. And of course, there's an increased wildfire potential due to the fact that, we're looking at these warm temperatures and warm feel-like temperatures.
Citizens are being encouraged to reach out to the insurance regulatory body, the Financial Services Authority, the FSA, to ensure they receive the best policy offers for their assets. This call came from Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who was speaking on WFM Issues at Hand program on Sunday, addressing property insurance concerns. The Prime Minister highlighted that following the passage of Hurricane Beryl, it was observed that many individuals did not qualify for full insurance coverage.
People are having less and less confidence in insurance companies. Because right now, I get a lot of complaints that people who have insurance companies, that the insurance companies are trying every which way to see if they can use the policy to get out. Some use the word weasel out. I know how sometimes these policies are written. The ordinary man or woman doesn't read the fine print until the moment arrives. And what they think they're covering for, they're not covered. And therefore they can't get any payout. But some of the examples which come to me, I have myself examined them, and I've called on the people, if they have complaints, make them to the regulator, the Financial Services Authority, to see, in fact, whether the policyholder is getting a fair break.
Dr. Gonsalves acknowledged that more needs to be done by the government to educate citizens about insurance. He also said that licensed brokers can assist individuals to ensure that they are not disadvantaged by insurance companies.
What I will say to persons with an insurance policy, going for a contract about their house, it may worth their while to give a broker, a licensed broker, like for instance, we call a name Joe Sheridan, to look at it, pay a couple of $100 for them to review the policy to see whether there's anything in it which will disadvantage them. Because very often a person goes to an insurance company, a lot of times is because you're required to have it for your mortgage, but you don't study the terms of the contract. So I think that is something which we need to look at and perhaps deal with more education in relation to these matters.
Prime Minister Gonzalez further stated that the issue of insuring homes need to be discussed with other countries in the region, especially given the increasing frequency of natural disasters.
That there should be conversations between the governments in the region and insurance companies as to how we can better address the matter of policies for dealing with natural disasters, because it's an important component to strengthen our resilience. But unfortunately, people's faith at the moment in insurance companies, including what happened with CLICO and BICO, even though that some of those instruments are not property insurance as such, but really banking instruments masquerading as insurance products.
In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a relatively small number of people are insured. The Prime Minister pointed out that on Union Island, out of 1,300 houses, only 79 were insured. And the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, the SVG-TV, is distancing itself from a social media post depicting an individual as wanted, dead or alive, noting that it is aware of the circulation of the post, which is strongly condemned. The SVG-TV described the post as entirely false, unauthorized and dangerous, making it clear that it has not issued any such statement. The RSPF is urging the public to refrain from sharing or engaging with such defamatory content, noting that such actions have serious consequences, including inciting violence and causing harm to innocent individuals. The SVG-TV says it is actively investigating this matter, and the person or persons responsible for creating and disseminating this false information will be brought to justice. Reminding the public that the creation and spread of misinformation is a criminal offense, the SVG-TV says those involved will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and urges everyone to act responsibly and avoid further engagement with this harmful content. The Department of Adult and Continuing Education, DAS, is reporting an increase in the pass rate for the 2024 Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate (CSEC) exams. Speaking at a news conference today, the department's lead coordinator for the CSEC Center in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Kenan Medley, revealed that 501 adults registered to sit the exams this year, with the majority of subjects being mathematics and English. According to Medley, while more individuals are passing with lower grades, the department observed an overall improvement in the pass rate.
We have subjects such as math and English, which for us are the heavier subjects. And for those subjects, we had fluctuation with the pass rate. For example, for English, we saw a 20% increase in those grades in twos and threes, but we saw a decrease in the grade ones. For mathematics, it's the same thing. We see an increase in grade threes, but we see a decrease in the grade ones and the twos. So that is something we need to look into to see what we could do to keep those grade ones and twos up, right? Because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to push people to do the best that they can. And if their best is a grade 3, then we are also very happy for them, right? Okay, so for subjects such as the sciences and the business subjects, we've predicted and we've seen the trend that those classes, the results will continue to rise. So we hardly have less than 95%. We always have more than 95%, for those classes in terms of the pass rate, and this year was no different. For all of the business subjects and the science subjects, we saw a record of 96% passes, and that is more than we had last year, and I'm very happy for that.
Medley also noted that many participants are still dropping out of the program, which remains a challenge. However, the department continues to do its best to encourage individuals to complete the program.
A big part of it is in any training that you do, once you have people dropping off of your program, you have to talk to them to know why they're not coming, so you'll know what to do better next, yes? Right. So after interacting with a lot of them, I think it's just that life happens. Sometimes, like Ms. Richards, in her introduction, she said that we cater for the unemployed. Sometimes people get employed. Sometimes they go through things in life and they stop their classes. Or like I said, you know, their aspirations are placed on the back burner. And I think what we can, or what I keep trying to do, is try to just let them know that we have support available for them. You have a job, you could talk to your teacher and let them know, I wouldn't be able to come consistently, but if you would work with me, I would like to do my classes. If you have a situation like you have transportation issues or whatever it is, come to the office, you talk to somebody and we will be able to assist. But there isn't everything that we know. We wouldn't always know, we can't account for every single person who dropped off of your program.
The CXC and Caribbean Certificate of Literacy and Learning CCLC classes are scheduled to start on September 31st in 9 different zones across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. All DAS classes are free except those for CXC exams.
If you can, come the 1st of November. Especially if it's somebody that you need to talk to somebody, there's a little issue that you might need to iron out, come early so that we could get that ironed out so that you will be able to register. Also, some persons might make a mistake on the form and they want to correct it. We can't correct it without charging you after a certain period of time, because that is what CXC say we have to do. So come early, so if there's a correction, we could correct it before the deadline has ended. Once you register for your exams, the next big thing would be your SBAs. For adult education, we are the only adult learning center, because there's only 2 adult centers for CXC, the Ministry of Education's Private Candidate Center and Adult Education. We're the only center that allows candidates. It is mandatory for our candidates to do SBAs for all of the subjects that they're taking with adult ed. The reason we do that is because, as you would have seen or heard from everybody else that would have spoken before me, our mandate is to uplift and to give everybody a chance to improve their lives. And with an SBA, you go in your exams with a % already secured before you go to do your exams.
At the end of every dark tunnel, there is a light, says Union Island Secondary Principal. This uplifting statement comes from the principal, Daryl Williams, at the opening of the temporary facility in Annisville. The facility is housing over 300 students from Union Island in the southern Grenadines, which was devastated by Hurricane Beryl. As the students embark on a new chapter of their education in this new environment, Williams encouraged them to make the most of the opportunity.
It starts here and continues on Union Island. I pray that you will make the best of this opportunity. I know that each and every one of you has great potential, and no matter where you are, you always put your best foot forward. To our first formers, let me welcome you to secondary education. We know that your beginning was sort of, problematic, but we hope that as you start this new chapter with us, that you will have a motivation and an inspiration to learn and to continue.
Williams expressed confidence that the students will persevere in this new teaching and learning environment despite the challenges they have faced.
It's going to be a tough year, not gonna lie to you. Third form is one of the most difficult classes in any school. But as you put your hand to the plow and don't look back, you will succeed. Those of our fourth formers, it's time to get serious. This is a new chapter where you continue on in CSEC work. It would mean that no lapsing, more time reading, more time studying. To our fifth formers, yes, focus is upon you right now, because you have to put all of your efforts into your work. We are a bit displaced, but through synchronized teaching, we hope that all will benefit from learning as we endeavor on this new path. I wish you and pray for you nothing but the best.
Noting that Union Island is known as a close-knit community, Williams urged the students to look out for one another and to continue embodying the spirit of togetherness while attending school on the mainland.
This is not Union Island. Union Island was a small community where everybody looked out for each other. Here, you're in a different environment where you have to look out for each other. And we are your designated safe space. If you're having problems, please talk to us. If you're having problems with your work, we are here for you. So I want to admonish each and every one of you to exercise wisdom in all things and make this year or this time here, as long as we are here, the best that you would ever have.